Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and some more exciting Star Wars Battlefront 2 news and footage. We've got two new gameplay clips today because first of all they put the Boba Fett page live on the website, which means that we can get some details on the abilities and the actual gameplay clip without audio. The abilities you already know by now because it's been both in the pre-alpha and in the beta, but we do get to see a really cool look of the inside of the Death Star as well as Kamino. I think it looks really good. I'm excited to see some full gameplay on both of those maps to see how the actual map plays out. It seems like the Death Star actually has a quite large hangar you can be in. It reminds me a little bit of the start of the second phase of the Death Star in the previous game, where you only pretty much spawned but you never actually used that full hangar for battle, and that might be something you will do in this game. And something worth noting with the Mos Eisley footage in the end is that it seems that there's different time settings for the maps, because both in the Lando and Boba Fett footage on Mos Eisley it looks like it's midday, whereas in the Bossk footage it looks like it's either in the evening or in the morning instead. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't think it's going to be dynamic, but I would guess that it might be the same way that we had on Twilight on Hoth, where some modes are during the evening and some modes are during the day. But I think it would be even cooler if the same mode, such as Galactic Assault, would actually have different variants, a little bit like it is in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, although that game is completely different, but it means you can play the same exact game mode with different conditions depending on what time of the day you play. But now over to the footage. I know a lot of you are excited to see Chewbacca on Kashyyyk. It looks absolutely amazing, and Kashyyyk is one of the planets I'm most excited for, as many of you probably know. Unfortunately, this is just a Twitter video that I ripped down, so the quality isn't the best because of all the compression, but you can still see that it looks pretty darn amazing. And we also get to see some Starkiller base as well as some more nighttime Endor, and we get a glimpse of his three abilities. The first one is the Shock Grenade, which I'm assuming will probably disable and or slow the enemies a little bit like it did in the beta. And then we have the Furious Bowcaster, which seems to one-shot enemies, and I'm assuming this mine might be similar to how it worked on the Wookiee Warriors, but hopefully a little bit stronger. And lastly we have the Charge Slam, which looks really epic. It seems to be a little bit like a combination of some abilities in the previous game, both the Ground Slam and the actual charge that characters like Dengar had. So I'm hoping that the actual charge will damage enemies, but that the slam is the one that does the most damage, because otherwise you're gonna be pretty vulnerable when you do the actual charge. So it's nice to see that they're evolving the abilities and didn't just add a standard ground slam, but something that will really make you scream when you see Chewbacca running towards you in a corridor. And I guess the best thing you can do is just get the hell out of there as fast as possible. And lastly, in that clip we get to see Chewie versus Darth Vader inside what I think is the Death Star. It could potentially be the inside of Starkiller base. It almost looks a little bit like the place where Han gets killed by Kylo Ren, but I do think it is the Death Star because the actual interiors look a little bit more like that. But it seems to be a very cool place to have a duel nevertheless. But I'm assuming most Force wielders with some type of choke or push will have a pretty big advantage on positions like this, where you can just throw the enemy off the side and they will most likely die. But that brings this video to an end. We can probably expect to get the final gameplay clips of Heroes either this weekend or next week, and I think we only have Kylo Ren and Yoda left now as far as I know, but I'm sure I've forgotten some obvious hero now that I'm recording the video. But nevertheless, thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.